Have you ever wondered why you're not making progress in the gym? Maybe you've hit a strength plateau, maybe things just aren't feeling how they used to, and maybe you're just getting more demotivated day by day. Don't worry, a lot of us have been there, myself included, which is why I decided to make this series entitled The Principles of Progress, where I look at ways in which I can help you overcome those obstacles. Hey, I'm Avi, and if you're new around here, which I am assuming a whole bunch of you are, my aim is pretty damn simple. I'm going to help you win in the gym so you can win in life. And on today's episode of The Principles of Progress, we're looking at mental preparation and how you can set the best possible conditions to be able to flip the switch prior to heading into the gym. And of course, these same thought processes can be used prior to attempting a heavy lift in the gym. Too many words right there. Let's move on. To understand what is meant by flipping the switch, it is best that we look at a scientific principle that underlies this. That scientific principle is known as densifying neural drive. Now, I am an honest man. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a professor. I'm a personal trainer. I am someone who just loves training. Therefore, I find this stuff pretty damn interesting. And I hope you do too. But don't worry, I'm going to try and simplify what you're about to watch, okay? Now, Dr. Stuart McGill. He's dedicated his whole life to all things regarding the lower back and the spine. In fact, he was a professor for 30 years. And his laboratory and experimental research clinic investigated issues related to the causal mechanisms of back pain, how to rehabilitate back-pained people, and enhance both injury resilience and performance. He's worked with many top-level elite athletes, strength athletes in particular, and I'm talking people who have been unable to walk due to crippling back pain, and taking them all the way back to the top where they're competing and setting world records again. So he's he is amazing, put it that way. So he's the best guy to explain what the hell densifying neural drive is. Alright, now I'm not going to BS you guys. Obviously, I've taken this clip from the Squat University channel, and of course, it's a very, very good channel. I do recommend subscribing to it and checking out their content. Of course, subscribe to me as well. Show me some love. I'm sending you their way. I'm making all this wonderful content for you people. In the words of J. Cole, I make what's in my heart. I don't give a fuck who's with it. Because, yeah, my highest moments came from helping someone who needed it. I can't remember the exact bar, but I do this stuff so I can just genuinely help people, and I enjoy making these videos. I grew up on fitness YouTube, so yeah, I've always wanted to become a fitness YouTuber. The world nowadays, huh? Anyway, let's watch this video.
The great strength athletes know how to create more strength by what we call densifying neural drive. What is strength? Strength starts quite simply as a thought. The brain organizes a pattern of impulses that travel through the nerves and through the body to create movement and strength. But there are several tricks to densifying that neural drive to pull out even more strength. For example, you've all heard about the mother who sees her child trapped under a car and she's able to, and this is well documented, pick up the back end of the car and someone is able to pull her child out. She might avulse her biceps, she might fracture her spine, but somehow at that instant in time, she's able to densify neural drive for that super strength. Well, we've measured this in many great athletes, so here is the first element of creating a very dense neural drive. First of all, the brain must perceive joint stability. Just imagine if you had a ligament strain in your knee, your brain would sense that instability. It might be accompanied with a shot of pain, and it will cause you then to limp, creating a non-optimal, a non-athletic pattern. Well, your back limps as well. Consider if someone has a bit of joint laxity, and many great athletes do. They might have a disc bulge or a little bit of an end plate fracture where the disc has lost a little bit of height. That's what is captured in this model. These very biofidelic models are made by Dynamic Disc Designs, for example. This disc is normal, and this disc is normal. This one has lost a little bit of height. Notice when I apply a torque from above that the majority of the motion is taking place at the joint that has lost stiffness. When the brain perceives that instability, it shuts down neural drive. So let's look at the World's Strongest Man competition from a couple of years ago. You'll notice that in the squatting of 750 pounds event, look at the repetition prior to the one that they failed on. And every single time you will see that instability. The hips slide out a little bit, there's a little bit of wavering, a little bit of micro movement, so that now the brain is unable to send out full neural drive and they lose the lift. The key to combat this, of course, is to develop very robust stabilizing patterns through specific stabilization exercises. Another key component of densifying neural drive is facial expression, or what you may know as the game face. You don't see many strength athletes with a lot of joy expressed on their face. That robs the density. Instead, they create a game face to brink on that fight or flight response to densify neural drive. The stories and conversations that I've had with world-class athletes, I think of one world record holding Olympic lifter who was competing in the clean and jerk. They just performed the clean and they knew they had the next world record in the bag. And he said, I let myself have a little thought of satisfaction, a little internal smile. I lost my game face, and of course, I lost the lift and the next world record. You will often hear great coaches saying, stay tight, don't get loose. Staying tight also creates the principle that the Russians coached so well, the principle of irradiation, radiating dense neural drive throughout the body through creating proximal stiffness to unleash the athletic movements distally.
Okay, so obviously there's a whole load of information in that video, and I'm not sure how much of it I want to clip out because it's all pretty useful, but I have an idea. But there's three things I want you to take away from that video, because it's going to sort of, I guess, in a sense, lay the foundations for videos going forwards, because these are three things that, you know, probably not as well explained as Stu McGill, but these are three things that I sort of live by in my own training and how I try to train my own clients. So the first one is pretty simple: move well, move according to your structure in a way that isn't going to stress out the tissues that we don't want to stress out and stress out the tissues that we want to stress out. In a sense, we want to stress the muscles and limit or minimize or have no stress on the joints, ligaments, tendons, and so forth in the realm of weight training, okay? Now, the second thing we can take away from that is the psychological element. So what he said about the game face, and just having that high level of focus going into a lift. He used the example of the weightlifter who let off that internal smile before going for a big attempt, or what's a world record, I'm not too sure. And letting off that internal smile eventually led to them failing the lift. So 1, move well. 2, focus, game face on, which is of course what we're going to expand on in this episode. And the third one was about the irradiation or radiation effect. And what you're looking at there is the cue that was explained was to stay tight. And we can do that in multiple ways, through the core, through the shoulders, through the hips. So let's move on and let's look at how we can actually put ourselves in the best position to be able to densify, neural drive, and flip the switch. Well, if strength starts with a thought, then we want to be able to prime our minds to be able to express that strength. So let's look at things in a chronological manner and look at a timeline of events leading up to actually going to the gym. And I'm assuming you train in the evening, or this person in my example trains in the evening, and they've got the whole day ahead of them before they actually go to the gym. Responsibilities, priorities, we all have all of these things. Well, I assume all of us do. And in most instances, unless you're a pro athlete or something, they all come above the gym. The gym doesn't pay us a salary. The gym doesn't feed us. The gym doesn't give us love. It is the gym. And, it'd be pretty damn epic if I could go to the gym and walk out and get handed a fat paycheck. But unfortunately, that is not the case. So I need to handle my responsibilities outside of the gym so I can go to the gym. And what happens if I don't handle those responsibilities? I get pretty damn stressed out. If we look at this study on the psychological factors affecting sports performance, we can see that some level of stress is actually a good thing when it comes to performance. However, if we take on too much stress, or if we experience too much stress, there is a negative effect on our performance. In fact, that exact same outcome was found in multiple studies, so we can conclude that it's a pretty reliable statement. So to put all of that in a pretty simple way, we're going to use an analogy that I used in one of my Instagram uploads. A little cheeky plug coming. If you don't follow me on Instagram, TikTok, what are you playing at? If you don't subscribe to this channel, what are you playing at? Get yourself together, man. I am on Instagram and TikTok as Avi Trains. I'm also on YouTube. You're here watching this video as Avi Trains. And be great if you could give me a follow, to be honest. I'm going to use a video that I recorded from there for this next part because I don't want to make too much of a mess. I don't want to get the floor wet. Okay, that probably sounds like I peed myself, but I didn't. And you'll see in this video. So I'm just going to hit the pause button here and I'll let you watch it. Stress is completely normal. It is part of the process of adaptation that all human beings go through and is completely needed for progress. And I like to view our capacity for stress as a glass of water, or in this instance, a mug. All the responsibility that we have to take on at work. A girlfriend who's giving you grief. A bill that you haven't paid yet. And the caloric deficit mixed with the tough training sessions and so on and so forth. As you just saw, that is when the glass overflows and we begin to feel stressed out. And here's 3 things you can do to manage this. Prioritize. Things that have a greater stress bill attached to it, get those done first. Limit the noise. Put do not disturb mode on your phone. Make sure your environment is as conducive to getting deep work done as possible. Rest. Sleep is actually where your glass empties back out and you have a whole new glass to go again the next day. In fact, I do have blogs on my website. In fact, go check it out. I've got a few routine ones on there, got a few about habits. If you're interested, head over to www.avitrains.com and just head to my blogs. Anyway, back to the timeline. We've handled our responsibilities outside of training, so now it's time to train. When it comes to nutrition, there is no conclusive evidence that suggests what and when you should be having a pre-workout meal. However, I would say this part largely comes down to preference. Personally, I don't have a pre-workout meal. I'm not saying that's what you should do. I like training on an empty stomach. I prefer it. I feel more focused and I don't feel as sluggish. And I have friends who are very much into training that like to eat something easily digestible an hour or 2 before training. So, you don't want a high fat meal hour or 2 before training. You'll probably feel quite sluggish. In fact, you want a moderate carb meal bit of protein, bit of fats in there. Eat, hour or two later, train. I usually have a pre-workout supplement prior to training. Now I find it helps me bring a level of consistency in regards to my energy and focus, which ultimately leads to me performing quite consistently in the gym. What I'm getting to is the fact that you should have a pre-workout routine. Now, it's something that you go through prior to every training session at the gym, and simply put, it just gets you in the zone. Now, a routine is a sequence of actions that you regularly follow, and it serves to automate an outcome, in this case, getting to the gym. It frees up mental capacity, and it's going to allow you to set the conditions so you can flip that switch. So for me, my pre-workout routine looks something like this. It's Avi from the future here, just intercepting and adding to what Avi from the past is saying. If you bring your attention over to the feedback loop, or the habit loop is the loop that all habits follow. A habit is a pattern of behavior that is repeated subconsciously and tends to occur automatically. It follows the pattern of cue, craving, response, and reward. And if you pay attention to what I am about to say in regards to my pre-workout routine, it follows this exact loop. I get changed and I pack my bag. I take my pre-workout and my creatine. I make my way to the gym. Okay. I look through the program to remind myself of what it is I'm doing that day. I put my phone on do not disturb mode and walk into the gym with my game face on. And from there, I begin my workout, and I've set the conditions to allow me to densify that neural drive. If you enjoyed the video, then please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on that post notification bell so you know exactly when I upload, twice weekly of course. Also, check out my latest videos over there on the right and show me some love on the socials below.